Hi, my name is Nicholas Blotti. I'm an associate at the law offices of Ginarte, O'Dwyer, González, Gallardo, and Winograd. Today my blog is going to be about what happens if you slip and fall or you trip and fall on some sort of dangerous condition while you're at work. What are your rights? In New York, most cases, if you are injured on the job while you're working, you're entitled to have your medical and your lost wages paid through workers' compensation. This is usually done through the New York State Insurance Fund or a private insurance company. However, what about pain and suffering? Are you entitled to bring a lawsuit? That depends on the circumstances, and there's always questions that need to be asked. In cases where your employer may only be the tenant of the building and a separate corporation may be the landlord may be responsible for maintaining these areas, these so-called common areas. Therefore, you may have a right to bring a lawsuit against the landlord. There are also times that outside management companies are responsible for maintaining the building, cleaning it, making sure everything's safe, and if they do not do their job, you may have a right to bring a lawsuit against them. You may also experience situations where you believe your employer, the tenant, and the landowner may be a different company by a different name, may be the same entity. Does that prevent you from bringing a lawsuit? Well, the courts have addressed this issue multiple times, and there's factors they look to see if your company that you work for is something called an alter ego of this other corporation. Factors that they'll look into to see if they're separate entities is they'll look at the board members, they'll look at how records are maintained, they'll look at what functions they perform, they're going to see why each corporation was created. And in certain situations, most of the time the court will say your employer and the landlord are not the same companies, which will give you the right to bring a lawsuit for the pain and suffering for the injuries you sustained. But as I said before, it's important you consult with an attorney so you know if you have those rights or if your cases just may be subject to workers' compensation. If you have more interest in this blog, please go to the blogs at ginarte.com.